The first loser, Corey. That's what they call second. The first loser.
I didn't want to say
that out for Diana. Get in the comments. What's up, y'all? I'm watching them go in the comments before we even got on here. Holy shit.
One of those days.
It is. Well, it's going to be one of those shows. Donnie is going to be out for a while, guys. He had surgery on his neck. If you follow him on Facebook, I'm sure you're seeing what he's dealing with. It's not good. He's in pretty rough shape. He's not a happy guy right now. So you could use some positive thoughts, because he's in rough shape. But, he just had the surgery, and, he knows that physical therapy and all that comes with it, but still. He said it was a little more than what they told him it would be. So he's not a happy camper.
And he's going to have to be patient, man.
Yeah.
And we know Donnie, and Donnie that is not in his vocabulary, but he's going to have to be patient. And brother, we're praying for you.
Yeah, well, that's it. We keep just keep him in your thoughts. He's Donnie. We love him to death, and like I said, he's in a rough spot right now. And Emery's off playing Emery someplace on this marble. We don't even know where the hell he went. We just he's not here tonight.
Emery's at T1G. He's doing driving classes, having a great time. Well, and because I'm not there irritating him, and they're doing night driving tonight, so we're not going to see Emery tonight. They won't be done until midnight.
T1G, that's
right.
I need to talk to you about somebody from there one day offline here. I need to remember to make that phone call. I need to talk to you about somebody from T1G. So you should know the name. He's also a group. Yeah.
Carl worked there for a couple of years when he retired. Carl Erickson from Tactical Rifleman actually started.
I will be seeing the awesome Mr. Erickson this weekend. He will be down here.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
So we can get up there. Carl's going to come here. He's going to be here at our place on Sunday. So we're at least going to get to see Carl. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I might be coming down your way too, because if my wife had some bad news this week, she's got to if the medicine can fix her or keep her heart valve going well, then I'm gonna come down and irritate you guys down in Florida this coming week.
Well, I hope we see you then, because that means Robbie's doing well, and so I really hope we see you.
Yeah,
genuinely,
absolutely.
So yeah, and you know where I live. We're welcome to come on down here too, man.
Maybe we all need to get together and go tickle Donnie with a feather.
I know where he lives too. That would cheer him up. Actually, that would make his day. If we showed up at Donnie's place, that'd make his day.
Is he back home now, or is he still in the hospital?
To be honest, I'm not even sure at this point. It took them 3 days just to figure out pain management, so that he could at least bear it. It was pretty rough. So I'm not sure if he's even home yet. I'm sorry. I'm reading comments. Christy's saying she's coming over.
Chip, there you go. You've been forewarned.
Yeah.
Chris turns around and goes, Mel, we're packing up and leaving right now.
Nah.
I just said that.
Carl will be here Sunday, so we're going to be right here hanging out with Carl.
Oh, yeah.
Probably get something for the grill,
There you go.
Take it easy. Because then he's going to go, jump out of airplanes the rest of the week after that, I guess. So.
Yep. Yeah,
I
think
he's go up there and hang out with him a little bit while they're doing that. So.
That'd be a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. one day.
Yeah, Carl and I had a long talk about that. And we're getting too old for that crap, you know. But he wants to jump with his son, static line out of the C-47 again. You know, the World War II,
Go Bell.
which I think great. You know, that they do a good job of that. Getting those guys ready to go to Normandy and things like that. So they have a good time down there. So Palatka's always a good place to go hang out. Real small town, you know, and not far from St. Augustine. So it's a lot. We have fun every time we go down there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I shot the video of the first jump that they did from inside the plane for him. And,
Yeah,
Was that you behind the camera?
That
for
was
one?
Nick.
Yeah, on
for
the
Nick-
inside of the
for
plane.
Nick-
That was all. I shot
for
that with my
Nick's
phone,
first
dude.
jump.
Sweet.
Because you know, Carl asked me if I want to go for a ride, and I was like, yeah. I said, you want me to film this from in here? And he's like, yeah, that's a great idea. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do it. Like,
Yep,
It
that
come
was
out
Nick's
good.
first
That
jump.
was awesome.
yeah,
That was an
that
awesome
was all
clip.
shot with my phone, man. What you didn't see is like once that stick goes out and they're all out of the plane. I stepped up to the door and I grabbed both sides and I leaned out just to look back, you know, as they're falling away, watching them. And the jump master behind me, he's just freaking out. He's losing his mind, screaming at me, telling me not to do it. He's like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!" You know, and I'm like, "What?
Don't jump.
I'm like, dude, I'm not jumping out of this fucking plane." I said, "They call this thing a neck breaker. I know what this parachute's going to do when it opens. I don't want to jump this fucking thing."
Was that the same year that I started singing "Blood Upon the Risers" when all the new guys were going to do their first jump and the
I
song
don't think
goes,
Sue was there.
was that was a different year then? Okay, all right, yeah. When I was down there, I don't know who filmed it, but I started singing "Blood Upon the Risers," and all the guys who never jumped out of a plane before, like, what the hell are we singing here? Talking about a guy whose parachute doesn't open and they end up like a pancake on the drop zone. That probably wasn't too inspirational.
Yeah, Sue, that was the year that Chris is talking about. Was the year that what was the guy's name? He broke his leg. That's the reason we didn't see you. You were there. You had to go. You took the guy to the hospital that broke his leg. The Czech guy, or the Romanian guy. That's why we didn't see you, because you were there. Right. You were up at the hospital with him.
Yeah, he did that pirouette. He tried to do that pirouette.
Yeah,
shattered his hip.
Shattered his femur.
That's the year I got Emery. That's the year I got Emery into skydiving, and Carl's never forgiven me since. You know, I said, Emery's hooked.
Yeah, to put it mildly, yeah, he's hooked. We've done some jumps with him. We jumped with you too.
Yeah,
we jumped with you and Emery. That was fun. That was a good time, actually. That's why we like going there and hang out.
We actually rode up with you and Mel getting ready to do your tandem.
Yep.
Yep. And we had to jump before you. The tandems are just so everybody knows. If you go and get a tandem done, you'll always go last. We can't jump with you. We have to jump before you because that when somebody's attached to another person jumping, they fall a little bit faster. So they want everybody out of the plane, and the tandems always go last, so those guys don't have to worry about any kind of people messing with them on the way down. And if I was a tandem master, that's the way I'd want it too, because you're trying to give somebody a good experience about actually doing their first skydive. So you want them to concentrate on enjoying themselves, not who's trying to mess with them or fly next to them or anything like that. I say fly next to them. You're falling.
Fly. It is flying downward.
You're flying vertically. You're vertically flying straight to the earth. Is what you're doing. I mean, imagine that you're hurtling towards a planet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Way too funny.
Oh yeah, Mel saying I thought I went first. No, Mel, that's the rule. The other jumpers always go out first, and then the tandems go last. Yeah,
I remember watching her go off the tailgate because I yelled "bye, bitch" when she went off the. And everybody laughed around me, was pissing themselves laughing as we all went off the tailgate because we had that whatever that plane was that they had the tailgate jump, and I know we all jumped out of that one together.
Yeah.
And we had another one too that we did, another tandem that we did up there too. But yeah, the place is fun. You know, Art's a good dude. You know, that's who Mel always jumps with. She wants to jump with Art, and he's cool. And he always takes her up and lets her jump. So,
yeah. Well, he's probably the only one that would have allowed her to jump with the beer in her hand. So
he'll hold her beer in his pocket till he gets his silk open, and he'll hand it to her. Once he gets him under a canopy, he'll hand Mel her beer. You know. What'd you say, T?
I said spilling your beer from 30,000 feet.
Yeah. You're an asteroid with a collision course with Earth. Yeah, you are. Yeah, like I said, you're hurtling towards the planet. You know, just
got the ass part right.
No, that's what I told Emery. You know, to calm him down. You know, he was a little nervous in free fall and everything, and I was like, Emery, once you leave the plane, you've just committed suicide. So until it's time to open the parachute, just have fun with it. You know, smile.
Never heard that one before.
That's
a good way of putting it.
Valid.
You're the one that jumped out. You committed suicide. Now it's up to you to pull that parachute. Change your mind.
You've committed suicide. Welcome to the wonderful sport of skydiving. Here's our pitch.
Yeah. Send this, make sure Art sees this one, and he'll be like, this is how not to do it.
Yeah. He'll be like, I'm glad they never said the name of my drop zone, is what he'll say.
Yeah. I'll make t-shirts like that, man, for that. What is it? Skydive Pulowski? It's like kill yourself. Kill yourself. Skydive Pulowski, whatever it is.
Palatka.
We've got a tree service guy. Their name is Pahowski.
Fucking Pulowski, Skydive Pulowski.
Skydiving. Kill yourself. Just kill yourself.
Yeah, and Art, remember Chris, our buddy Chris, is part of a tactical rifleman crew. He was over there jumping with the static line guys over in the Round Canopy Parachute Club. But we took his girlfriend over, and Art was her tandem instructor, and she had such a great photo when the cameraman came by and took the pictures of her and everything, that my wife Robbie, we had towels made for her because it looks like Art is flying a blow-up doll because all the air's going in her mouth. Like big old cheeks and a big old mouth, and he looks like he's riding a blow-up doll. Remember those towels we brought down to Palatka the next year? That was so funny. Yeah.
Oh my God, had towels made of it.
That's awesome. Funny.
That's awesome.
Of course, we gave one to Art. So.
Well, yeah, he had to.
Well,
yeah,
I have to.
Yeah.
So Nick Meacher is up in the comments. What's going on, Nick?
I ain't getting on no plane, Hannibal.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So who killed JFK?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, all right, they released the files.
They still saying there is no definitive. I asked Grok that question today, and there's no definitive proof that came out to anybody other than Oswald, other than a lot of conspiracy theories in regards to Russian collusion, Israeli collusion, KGB collusion, CIA collusion, all of the alphabet agency collusions. But that's what Grok had to say about it. But
yeah, and that Epstein list, glad that finally come out too.
One at a time. One at a time.
Right?
But I
Man.
tell you,
Well, there's national security implications there. So that should tell you something straight off the bat. I mean, as soon as she said that, everybody should have went, what? Like, excuse us? Like, huh? How? Like, how? Just, you got to give us more than that. Got to be more than that. This has to be. Because we know the subject matter, all right? And now you're going to throw that label on it. You got to tell us why. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Mushrooms. We're all just mushrooms.
Yeah, that just tells you that there's some names that will never appear on a list anywhere. Yeah.
Wow.
Patrick, I read that too. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I watched a pretty, I was just a baby then, but I watched a pretty good YouTube video about that whole lead up to the assassination. And, John F. Kennedy's father was big into the criminal world. He actually helped during the Depression or during Prohibition. He helped help the mafia bring in lots of whiskey and things like that. And he called for the marker to be due during John F. Kennedy's election. And I didn't know that it was so tight. The race was so tight. I guess he ran against Nixon in 60. And I didn't know that it was Chicago. The city of Chicago was really where he got enough to go ahead and win the presidency from the electors in Illinois. I didn't know the race was that tight. Of course, I wasn't even born yet. I wasn't born until 63. But then when John F. Kennedy got his brother to be the damn Chief Justice, or I'm sorry, the Attorney General, and they went after the mafia, especially the team, and went after Jimmy Hoffa, the Teamsters Union, where the mafia was borrowing all that money to build Las Vegas and things like that, or using all that money to build Las Vegas. That to me right there is just like, maybe the mafia did have something to do with all this crap, losing all their casinos in Cuba, and John F. Kennedy failed to get, after the Bay of Pigs, failed to get their country back. They pretty much could do anything they wanted. The mafia owned Havana, with all those casinos and stuff there. And so it was very interesting to watch. So if you look at all the possible players in that assassination, I can see why there were so many conspiracy theories over the past, several decades, because there's a lot. He wasn't as well appreciated as people think as a president.
Yeah.
No, there was that whole, wanting to audit the Fed thing that made him super popular as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that puts your name at the top of the list right there.
Deja vu.
Yep. Of course, Lincoln, I believe, was the other one that tried to do that. Whoops. Funny how that turned out.
Yeah.
And doesn't Trump say he wants to audit the Fed?
You better watch saying that.
The one that scares me.
Tried once.
Yeah, the one that scares me about Trump is he's told everybody he's going to open Fort Knox to see if there's any gold in it.
I don't think there's right? Yeah.
I don't think there has been forever.
No.
I don't think there was when they did the little walkthrough back the last time. There's a lot of speculation that there wasn't. They said that the way it was stacked and the configurations, it was off from what the actual gold bars should have been. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Well, back when they built Fort Knox, of course, they put it on Fort Knox right next to an army base that had several armored divisions there and an infantry division at Fort Knox. Well, what's at Fort Knox today? HR command and recruiting command. That's it. There are no more armored divisions. There are no more infantry divisions. If you think HR is going to protect the gold from a group of thieves, it's not going to happen.
That's a great point.
Hey, I have a stapler. It's a swing line.
Yeah.
Look at HR. Look at HR command. I mean,
Freaking paper cut everybody to death.
Yeah.
even the Pogues would call them Pogues. I mean,
Yeah. Those are the Pogues.
even the
Man.
Pogues would call them Pogues. Oh, that'd be HR command. I couldn't imagine a more humiliating assignment in the military.
Ugh.
Yeah, so if one of the reasons for putting Fort Knox was would be protected by a bunch of battle hardened troops, there
Yeah.
are no battle hardened troops left at Fort Knox. So, if, in my opinion, the gold is somewhere else.
China.
Mm-hmm.
China.
I think it was moved to the underneath the World Trade Centers.
I think it's probably on Epstein Island.
Probably. Well, it's definitely secure there. That's for sure. Place is locked down better than Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, plus, he did fill all those tunnels with concrete. I mean, it's not like there's something down there he didn't want nobody to find.
Right.
That no one's even bothering to say maybe we should drill that out and see what's behind there.
Oh, I'm sure they already know what's behind there. That's why there's no drilling.
Yeah, I guess that's one of those. But if we don't see it,
Yeah,
then we don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But that which has been seen can't be unseen, sort of a thing,
No evil. See no evil.
Yeah. Well, I guess don't go looking for no answers you don't want, answers to.
Yeah.
So what are you
That's what I
guys'
like to know.
opinion? What's everybody's opinion about this judge that ordered all the Trinidad terrorists and gangsters? While they were over international waters, he wanted them to turn around and come back. I mean, do you guys think that's legal at all?
Not even in the slightest is it
The
legal.
district judge telling the president what he can and can't do. He
doesn't have jurisdiction over the issue. He has. I mean, what jurisdiction does this guy have? First and foremost, that alone, he doesn't have the jurisdiction. And the second thing is the Constitution is pretty clear on who sets the immigration rules. I mean, it pretty fucking clear. It is the executive of the nation. It is the president. He sets the immigration policy. He gets to decide who comes in and who gets kicked the fuck out. That's that simple. I mean, no one can question that. There's no higher authority than that. It's right there on the parchment. That's where the rules come from, folks. And it's pretty clear right there, in quill and parchment. This is just judicial activism, is all it is.
Well, and I think didn't his daughter have something to do with it? Some type of USAID thing?
He's an NGO.
All of a sudden, NGO, and all of a sudden her LinkedIn and her freaking social media stuff just disappeared.
Yeah, his daughter, the judge's daughter, is an NGO that used. Remember when I told you guys maybe it was when we first started this podcast, I went down to El Paso and NGOs would fill up half those planes either full of Afghani refugees or illegal aliens. And I would ride planes with NGOs taking all these guys to Atlanta. Where they went from there, I don't know, because I came to Asheville, but they all went to different, once they got to Atlanta, NGOs were there to pick them up and then take them to another plane. So they were flying them all over the country. And his daughter, this Judge Louis' daughter, was one of those NGOs. Not to mention that his wife's a super activist too. But
yeah,
when you're just taking your own personal opinion and then trying to impose your judicial will on the executive, the number one executive in the country, the president, from a district court, in my opinion, Trump is right. That guy needs to be impeached. He's way overstepped his bounds in his authority.
Oh, absolutely. So I think, man, the funniest thing that I saw on X recently, what do you guys think of Tampon Tim saying that he can kick 90% of MAGA supporters' ass?
Yeah. That's
Bring it.
I think we need to make a YouTube video. Tampon Tim, Sergeant Major versus Master Sergeant retired LaRue, and let's just have it out. Let's do pugil sticks with helmets on, if that makes them feel better.
The only kind of people that say shit like that are people that have never been hit in the face before. They say shit like that. You know, that's who says that. That's all. That tells me everything I need to know about him. He's never been punched in the face for real. You know? Give
me a reason. I will knock his teeth all the way down to his butthole where he can bite into an apple. I can't stand him, and I can't stand going to Minnesota. What a mecca for liberals. I can't stand
it. No. Don't want to go there. Went there once. Went there one time. Spent like a week out there. Don't plan to ever go back. So
I skirted the corner of it. That's the only as I get to Wisconsin.
Oh no, yeah.
Filled up before we hit the Minnesota border, and filled up after I got out of Minnesota. It's just like driving through Illinois.
Yeah, yeah. When you drive to that little corner of Illinois, that's like 50 miles of Illinois. That your hands are at 10 and 2. You got the speedometer or the cruise control set on the exact speed,
yeah.
Oh, I got a great idea. Let's invite Tampon Tim, the governor of Minnesota, Tim Waltz. Let's invite him down to Palatka and see if since he's a retired sergeant major, let's see if he'll jump out of an airplane with, tactical riflemen. Come on, Sergeant Major. Let's see you do it.
There you go.
We can film him pissing his pants as we push him out that door.
And as we push him out the plane. You pry his fingers off the door.
That's too funny.
That would be funny to see, but he ain't gonna come. There's no way.
No.
But that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Christy said we need a T-shirt, so we get a picture of Tampon Tim and a picture of Sue LaRue and put it on the WWE WrestleMania type T-shirt. But Sue's got it. We got to use that picture we were talking about earlier. Sue covered in mud, holding a freaking spear, and then Tampon Tim sitting there twirling tampons with his jazz hands,
like they're nunchucks.
Yeah.
The reason we got to cover ourselves in mud because we're so old. All them wrinkles would just turn everybody off. Nobody would watch it. It would look like two laundry bags getting thrown together.
Oh shit. Yeah. Sadly, I can relate to that. Yeah. That's why I never did Naked and Afraid. They used to ask me all the time, and I was at a show one time, and they asked me for that one, and they wanted me to do National Geographic. What was their one? Doomsday Preppers. And at one of the show, the same casting girl that I saw every time is in the booth like directly beside me, and this is in Dallas, I think. And she kept asking, and finally I was like, look, I said, you've got a better chance of seeing the face of God than getting me on either one of your shows. I said, so don't ever ask me again. I don't know how else to tell you no. I said, but I will never be on one of your shows, ever. And then, I kind of look away from her, and the show promoter is standing in front of me. He's a big guy named Ron. And he goes, hey, man, there's some TV people here that want to talk to you. I'm like, tell them to go fuck themselves like that. And it was the people from History Channel. They lean out from behind him, and this girl goes, hi. And I was like, shit. And he's like, yeah. And he just walked away.
Oh, no. No, I would love to see your series be turned into like a mini series or
I wish. Well, we tried real hard there for a little while. I did several trips to LA where I met with a bunch of different people, But this was also probably 6 years ago when I made this big push. And back then, Hollywood was what we know it is to be, just worthless piece of shit that everything had to be wokeified, and there was a quota system to everything, as far as ethnicity of the actors that had to be involved and this and that. And and of course, then I'm going to modify your storyline, all these things, and every meeting ended the same way with me looking at them and going, no, no, which always blew their minds because they feel like when you come in there, you're groveling to them, and that's not the attitude I had when I was dealing with them at all. And so, yeah, pretty much all of them walked away from everybody that even had interest in it. And there's a bunch there for a while, but I'm talking with the studios and them giving me their pitch of what they're wanting to do, or, what they're thinking. That usually killed it right there. As soon as they gave me their little pitch, I was usually like, yeah, absolutely not, not doing that. So,
well, one of these days, brother, one of these days.
Well, hey, it'll happen when it's supposed to. I'm not the least bit worried about it. Looks like we're not going to have tea back tonight. His internet's down, huh? You get a text from him, Russ?
Yeah, I got a text from him saying his internet's down.
Well, if it helps you out, your next book, you got to include Sularoo in it, and then when it becomes a movie, they can get a deep-throated, gravelly voiced black lesbian to play me. I'm half black, and I don't like giving fellatio to other Navy SEALs.
Black transgender lesbian. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I think that'll sell. I think that alone could get us a movie deal. You had to be a deep throat.
Okay, Pete. Had you
fucking Pete. You had to be deep throated.
oh Lordy.
Oh yes, that's going well.
I've seen Pete in the shower. He doesn't have to worry about a gag reflex. He ain't going to choke anybody.
Wow.
Sue came
I'm
out
waiting for him
swinging.
to come back in the comment section on that one.
Oh yeah, he's gonna. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So while we're waiting on that, hey, Chris, Bob Lester is making a last call for that live tissue lab up here that he's having in Ohio.
I saw that.
March 28th to the 30th, guys. If you're interested in a live tissue lab with Bob Lester, reach out to him. From what I understand, it's a great class. So
it is, yes, and it's a live tissue class, folks. If you don't know exactly what that means, Google it. If you're interested in attending one that's done the proper way, Bob's a great guy to do one with. I'm not gonna be able to get up there, Bob, not right now. I'm still recovering, so we're gonna be right here at home. But yeah, I would love to attend it, but we're not gonna be able to get up there. But if you're in the area or have interest in it, that would be a great one to do. So hit Bob up.
And we have a response from Mr. Robertucci.
The truth hurts. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Am I planning on continuing this? Yes, I'm continuing the series. I'm working on book 13. I know it's taking forever. Trust me. I know it's taking forever. But I'm working on it. Trying to get it done. There's just always something every fucking day that cuts into the time I can sit there and work on it. Like, it's a struggle for real. So,
yeah.
So this is where you can have Sularoo drive up in a Tesla. not with the EMP thing. So speaking of Tesla, can you believe all these reaction,
Idiots.
all these activists going after Tesla dealerships? Are these people just stupid or what?
Do you remember just how it was just a few, not very many long months ago, that Elon Musk was their darling.
Yeah,
Yes.
he
He
was
made
a
electric
golden
cars.
boy.
He was saving the world. You remember
That's
that?
not even my point. I mean, think about it. By the time a Tesla gets to a dealership, they've been paid for already.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Because those dealerships have to pay the market price for them, and then they add their price point to it, right? So these idiots are going to dealerships. Now, who owns a Tesla dealership? Probably a liberal who goes and has a D behind his name when he goes to vote, right? So it's
Yeah.
like these guys are eating their own. They're going
Yeah.
to Tesla dealerships, destroying cars in the parking lot, and then they wonder why their candidates don't have enough money to run their next campaign.
Yeah.
Are these people that stupid?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's actually
yes, they are. yes, they are.
well, because to them, it's the power of symbols, and symbols are always very powerful. And right now, they all want to lynch Elon Musk, and they can't do that. Yeah, this video is never going to see YouTube. But they all want to do that to Musk, and since they can't physically do that, they're just lashing out at the symbol of Musk, which is Tesla. They're not protesting the rocket launches too much because rocket exhaust is really fucking hot. So they're not gonna be over there doing much protesting. But plus security's tight. I've seen some of their munitions orders before. SpaceX security's fucking on point. But so they're just trying to burn the cars, and they're laughing because Tesla stock is dropping, which is funny because it's all Democrats that own that stock. Like it's all again, like Sue said, they're cheering their own demise.
They are.
They're shooting their own foot, or they're cutting their nose off to spite their face. Whatever, however you want to say it, it's happening right in front of us, and I just sit there and laugh. I don't think Elon Musk is worried about it. I mean, he just. No. I mean, when I saw the splashdown the other day, I was actually proud to be an American again, because I'm old enough to remember Apollo 11 and Neil Armstrong coming off there and saying one small step for man, one large step for mankind, and we were all very proud, and we were all watching it on television, black and white television back in those days. But to see that capsule come down into the Gulf of America this time, I actually felt proud, very proud, to think that, okay, 50 years ago, this was a government program, and now we're asking, businessmen to go, do this for us.
Go rescue our astronauts.
Yeah.
Because we need, because you remember that contract that you bid, you gave us a bid on, and you were so much cheaper than the competition. Their bid was enormously higher than yours, but we accepted their bid over yours. And we let them get our astronauts into space, but they cannot get them home now.
Yeah.
So
thank you very much, Boeing. Yeah.
So will you please now come get our astronauts home? That's what happened.
Yeah.
Boeing can't get the job done. And
you hit the nail on the head right there. And where did Boeing put all their money? Which is, again, in the Constitution, it's legal for companies to do that. And there's precedents where they can. It's under the First Amendment. They can express, freedom of speech, and they can donate to any candidate they want. Yep. But where did all of Boeing's money go? It went to the other side, the Democrats, right? Mm-hmm. And to watch Elon Musk do that and everything, what does that say? What's going on in some of our big corporations? It's just crazy. And the Doge thing hasn't even. They just chipped the paint so far. They haven't touched the Department of Defense yet. Wait till they get into Department of Defense, and you want to see some fraud, waste, and abuse going on.
Oh yeah,
amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I remember, and I'm sure you probably very well remember this, Sue. I very clearly remember Rumsfeld on TV saying we'd lost $1 trillion in Iraq. We don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, we have no idea where the money went.
Yeah, he said it straight faced, and the media kind of took that on, and wasn't a big stir made about it. But what he was telling people is that we have lost physical possession of $1 trillion in cash that was taken into that country, and we don't know where it went.
Now, me personally, I don't think it ever left the United States.
I don't think it ever did either.
No.
I think the agency come down and take a little bit out, and some of these other. And I just made this to my neighbor. He's up here visiting from Florida. He's got a little place up here, not far up my road, and his mom was asking, well, where do you think all this abuse is coming from? Where do you think they're doing it? And I was like, well, you tell me. Look at everybody you send to Washington D.C. as a representative in Congress. They get paid $180,000. I said, that's really not enough to live on. That's just barely living at a decent standard in what around the Beltway, Northern Virginia, Maryland, you name it. But isn't it funny how they all go up there in a rusty car and they're going to change the world, and they all come back millionaires, and they go to their 2 or 3 houses they have, or even when they don't win the election, like that. What's that lady out of Georgia? I'm trying to remember her name now, but she ran for the governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that got the $1 billion.
Yeah, Doja's saying, hey, wait a minute, why did the Biden administration give her $2 billion to her LLC? $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Stacey Abrams lost the gubernatorial race of Georgia, right, in 2016, it was in the paper that she was $400,000 in debt. Now, how does she have 2 mansions right there downtown Atlanta? How does that happen?
Yep. Yeah, it's just like one representative they showed the other day that when she was elected, she was elected 2 years ago. I think it was, she was elected 2 years ago for her seat, and her net worth was $29,000. That was her net worth. And now she's worth like $17 million.
Yeah. Look at AOC. Look at AOC.
In just a couple of years,
AOC was the same way.
Oh yeah.
Yep. A part-time bartender.
Yeah.
That's the reason all the politicians are panicking. They're trying, and they're selling it to these poor ignorant people, saying that they're attacking your benefits. And that's not at all what they're doing. They're just identifying the fraud and the waste. And and that's why these politicians are freaking the hell out, because all of them, that money passes through a lot of pockets. You know what I mean? A lot of it just stays right there in DC.
You hit the nail on the head. It's their cash cow that they're trying to protect.
Exactly.
Once they become part of the club, they all know they're going to walk out of there millionaires, and it goes both sides of the aisle.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we can blame the Democrats, but the Republicans are just as guilty.
Oh yeah.
Nobody comes out of Washington D.C. as an elected official broke. Nobody.
No. So, speaking of elected officials, what do you guys think about Gavin Newsom's attempt at his? I think he's trying to rebrand himself. Have y'all noticed there's a little bit of a rebranding he's trying to go do?
I don't think he stands a snowball's chance in hell at rebranding himself. I mean, there's too much video. There's just too much video of him saying the dumbest shit in the world, and everybody's seen what he's done to the state of California. Mm-hmm. I mean, and not to mention the fact he's part of the Pelosi crime syndicate.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He's part of that family. He's Pelosi's nephew. Mm-hmm. That alone should disqualify him from public service anywhere on the planet. But yeah, he could try to rebrand himself, but I don't think that shit's going to stick at all.
No, I don't either.
I don't think that'll happen. And I know he's trying to set himself up for a run. He's trying to set himself up for a run. because the Democrat
Yeah.
Party is just in utter shambles at the moment, and they're looking for any sort of glimmer of hope right now. So,
Yeah.
you know, I guess he's the best they got. That should tell you how bad off they are.
Yeah, because I mean, I know I've heard rumors that they're talking about AOC going after Schumer's, the speaker, but I don't see that happening. And I mean, they don't want to prop her up as the next one and the next Democratic star either.
No,
They're in shambles.
I think that would be a good thing because Schumer's actually smart. He's
yeah,
he's
oh,
crooked,
yeah.
but he's smart. Put AOC in there, and they've lost all chance of controlling any kind of thing in the Senate.
I was gonna say,
As the minority leader, if she took over as the minority leader, I think they'd have to choose somebody else to be the minority leader. But if she took over his position, they're losing a smart senator because Schumer is as crooked as the day is long.
oh yeah, but he's sly, and she's just dumber than a sack of gravel. And yeah, I mean, their party would fall apart on that side. I mean, they would just fall the fuck apart, you know. She doesn't have the muscle like he has
Yeah.
in that position. He's been there long enough, you know. He's got a lot of
he,
respect, you know.
he knows where all the skeletons are at.
Yeah, as I'm saying, he's got a lot of receipts. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So she doesn't have that yet. You know, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have them on her. I'm sure a lot of people got shit on her ass right at this point. You know, because she ain't been here long enough to be getting dirt on others yet.
No.
I still don't think we're out of the woods yet, though. I can still see a lot of resistance to what we all voted for. You know, sweeping change within the federal government. We've heard about this judge in Maine saying you can't do that to USAID. Yeah, you can, you know, but the rumor is tomorrow Trump is going to sign an executive order banning what do you call it? Disbrand or rebrand or get rid of the Department of Education. That needed to happen a long time ago.
Oh, so he's actually going to sign it? Really?
Yeah,
So
that's according to the interview I saw with him with Laura Ingraham, he's going to sign the executive order probably tomorrow.
Wow. Awesome. That's going to be phenomenal for education.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jimmy Carter started it back in '79, I think it was.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter started because our ranking in the world, in the industrialized world, had fallen to 14th. Well, now we're 49th. So the Department of Education hasn't done anything for 2 generations worth of children now. Hasn't done a thing for them.
Yeah.
So give it back to the
elected
states.
in almost 40 years, 50 years, almost 50 years since it's been implemented.
Right.
He was elected in '76.
Yeah, that's one that can go. I mean, there's a few more yet that they need to do. There's a few more yet to go.
You know, what I really want to see is the administration start going after these sanctuary city mayors and these sanctuary city or state governors. New York governor, she's done more to hinder ICE and Tom Holman than just about anybody. It's time to put some people's feet to the fire.
Yeah. Yep. And when we were getting ready for this podcast tonight, people, I got this book. I suggest getting this book right here. It explains the Constitution real well. But if you look at Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, when we talk about, Trump being able to get rid of all these undesirables and things like that, The United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a republic form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion or application of the legislature or the executive when the legislative cannot be convened against domestic violence. So if these mayors and these governors are not listening to the voters and the people of the United States, the federal government has the right to go in there and represent the people and reestablish a republic back to where the voters say, hey, we don't want these people here. They can go in there and not only get rid of them, but they can replace the local government. That's the way I'm reading it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a Supreme Court justice, but that's the federal government's job. You know, so if you got a sanctuary city that's ignoring the representative government of the people, the federal government has a right to come in there and not only kick out all these illegals, but replace that government, the local government.
It sounds like it, but that'll never happen.
No, I don't think so. I don't think. Unfortunately, because of what we just talked about, the Department of Education, they don't concentrate. Even civics class. I asked my 20-year-old son the other day. I said, he's talking about joining the military, and I said, hey, okay, how many articles are in the Constitution? How many amendments are in the Constitution? And this is my kid. He doesn't even know. And I was like, well, maybe you ought to read it first. Read the Constitution. And he goes, well, we haven't touched it since third grade. And I said, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
When these kids go all the way through 12th grade and they just kind of hit the wave tops of the Constitution, but then they get into high school and they get into, college and things like that. And they start talking about the advantages of Trotsky or Marxism or whatever. And they never allow these kids to get a foundation of the Constitution in the civics class. There's something wrong with our Department of Education.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's no longer going to exist, thankfully. And I see this question over here, and I was going to ask you guys about this because I don't know if y'all had seen it or not, but I put this out on Twitter yesterday. If you guys have heard that, it's been a lot of chatter out there, and this comes through from like Sarah Adams and then another company, an actual intel forecasting company put this out as well, that there would be a terrorist attack on a hospital in particular that would consist of a V-bid with follow-on shooters to take hostages and continue the rampage inside a hospital.
I know a guy that made a similar prediction, and he said not just one attack, it'll be simultaneous attacks in about a half a dozen cities.
Well, and that goes back to what the lady you just mentioned, Chris, Sarah. She said there were how many extremists in the U.S. at this time?
Over 1,000.
Yeah,
that they know of.
It's plausible that they could hit multiple cities. You look at 300 or 600,000, you could count out most of the democratically run sanctuary cities like Chicago and New York and different places like that, so it wouldn't hurt their base. But then you start looking at the 300 or 600,000, they're more of a moderate cities, is what I would call them. So, yeah. I mean, that's just Russ's take on it.
I think they'll be looking to hit tier 1 trauma centers, wherever they may be located.
Yep.
I think that'll be their targets.
So you're thinking it's going to be more like a Hotel Mumbai type thing where they just go in and I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
they're going to pull up in front of the emergency room or the main entrance with a V-bid and detonate that.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the smoke is settling, they're going to have their ground force move in through that same entry probably and just start spreading out through the building until they're.
Why do you think they're doing it to a hospital? Because it's just like a school where it's supposed to be a gun-free zone. even if you're going to go visit your mom that's in the hospital,
Yeah.
you better not be carrying a concealed.
Well, too, and
concealed
then
carry.
let's imagine the imagery of this to Americans.
Yeah.
You know, when they see one of their hospitals just being, and these guys aren't coming in with just AKs. I mean, they're coming in with, you know, RPGs, disposable RPGs, RPG-7s. You know, they're gonna have grenade launchers. They're gonna have hand grenades. They're gonna have plastic explosive. They're gonna have all kinds of shit. They've got heavy machine guns. You know, medium machine guns. So,
Suicide vests.
yes, suicide vests.
Kind of like what we saw in the school there in the Chechens did to Russia in the school several years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, when Americans, you know, we have 24/7 news coverage these days, helicopters in the air, drones, everybody. The country will watch this happen in real time. We're going to watch one of our hospitals just being destroyed. I mean, there's going to be patients inside, and it's going to be that whoever responds to this is going to be running straight into an ambush gunfight, and because there's going to be a rear guard so that the guys behind them can go ahead and continue what they're doing, which is going to be killing everybody they can find in a hospital. And just that imagery, that idea of you're not even safe in a hospital now, is going to really mess with a lot of people's heads. So I see why they're picking their target the way they are, because it's number one, it's soft, obviously, and then it's going to have a huge psychological impact.
Yeah.
I'm in a level 1 trauma center, and we are the designated trauma center for the White House visitors, so we are kept up to date with any threats. And have you heard? I know I saw you said you saw that yesterday, Larry. But were you saying what you saw when I posted it, or have you guys heard something else? If you're getting briefed on it, if you know. So if I hear anything in the hospital, I'll keep you updated. Okay, all right. Well, yeah. Let me know. I'm just letting you know what came out yesterday. That's awesomeness. That's what our peoples do for us. And I'm take a minute. We're gonna just say we've got a few of the Dalton blades left, guys. 5 or 6 of them now, I think. So if you want one, you still got them. You can get yourself one. That'll be the end of that run, and then we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do next. There might be a different blade, or it might be more of those. I got to get with Donnie. We're still working on the design for the THAAD, but I have another one that's already designed. And don't forget about mountain readiness that is coming up. T dropped out. He's not here with us right now, guys, but, you know, his internet faded on him. But mountain readiness is coming up. You're going to want to be there. It's going to be a great time. If you haven't got your tickets yet, go ahead and get them and get your campsite booked, because we'll be there. It's going to be an awesome time. Sue, are you going to be there too?
I'm hoping to be.
Awesome.
I still got I got a couple offers that keep on offering me some of these great jobs on the border and overseas and things like that. And as soon as I say, yeah, I'm in, well, then I never hear back from them. So there must be something in my resume that doesn't smell right. No, I shouldn't be so laissez-faire about something like that. Here's what I think's going on, guys, and I'm sure you guys hear a lot of this too. With this deep dive into the budget, I have heard rumors, even from SOCOM and USASOC, that's down there in Tampa headquarters and at Fort Bragg.
Yeah.
I heard that pretty much all contracts, even for high-speed military training, there's a freeze on them right now. There's no contract, there's no money going out right now until they can get through all the chaff of this fraud, waste, and abuse stuff. And like I said, they're just getting started.
Yeah.
So do not watch the stock market. I think the stock market's going to continue to go down, right? But if you notice, inflation is either stabilized or falling a little bit. Okay. And I think that once we get rid of this fraud, waste, and abuse, I think a lot of these bigger corporations are going to be rejuvenated in their confidence with the business world of the United States, reinvest. And I think this time next year, we're going to be hitting an economic boom that we haven't seen clear back till the Reagan years. I think we're going to really hit an economic boom, bar anything stupid, going on. But I think if we stay the course, that it's going to be good long term, not only for our children but our grandchildren. We really got to attack that debt, or we're going to go bankrupt.
Your optimism is refreshing. For real. Like, no, I like the idea that it is a possibility. There's a way out. That's nice. It's better than what it looks like on its surface. So, because that's a good point.
Yeah.
What else you got leading with tonight, man?
Well, thanks for having me on, man. It's kind of cool to be on this side of the camera.
Oh, yeah.
So, always great to talk to Sue, and guys, continue to get training, and we'll talk about your community, work with your community. That's what I'm up here in North Carolina doing this weekend, working with a group of folks that are trying to build that community of folks that share like-minded, and share the need for wanting to be prepared. But that's all I got, man.
That's it. Y'all know the deal. Be good at it. We'll be back next week. We're gonna have Jason from Ham Radio 2.0 on. So we're gonna be talking some radio stuff, comm stuff.
Should I bring my radio that I've never turned on yet down to Palatka so he can look at it and show a radio operator how to use it?
Yeah, bring your ham radio. Bring your radio with you, Sue. I'll show you how to turn it on for sure. Right. Yeah, bring it.
Right.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time.